इस समय सीधे मैं लिए चलता हूं प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी की फ्रांस यात्रा को लेकर विदेश मंत्रालय प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहा है।
Thank you very much, Arindam, and good afternoon to friends from the media for this special media briefing on the two upcoming visits of the Honorable Prime Minister. So, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji will depart tomorrow morning for his visits to France and UAE. The first segment of this two-country visit will be a visit to France. It will reach Paris by midday tomorrow. The visit to France is for July 13th and 14th at the invitation of His Excellency Mr. Emmanuel Macron, the President of France. This would be Prime Minister's sixth visit to France. Both Prime Minister Modi and President Macron met on the most recent meeting of theirs was on the sidelines of G7 summit in Hiroshima in May this year. And as you are all aware, the two leaders have remained in very regular touch since they first met in June 2017. After Prime Minister reaches in Paris midday tomorrow, his first interaction would be with the Prime Minister of France during the remainder of day tomorrow, as also with the President of the French Senate, Mr. Gérard Larcher, on the same day. In the evening tomorrow, Prime Minister has an introduction scheduled with the Indian community, which would be followed by a private dinner to be hosted by President Macron at Élysée Palace in honor of the Prime Minister. The major official and ceremonial part of the visit will start on the 14th, which is with the Prime Minister's participation at the French National Day celebrations, Bastille Day. This is a very, very special gesture extended by France to Prime Minister Modi. As part of our participation in the Bastille Day celebrations, a large tri-services contingent from India will also participate in the Bastille Day Parade, along with 3 Indian Air Force aircraft, which would also take part in the flypast after the Bastille Day celebrations. Program on the 14th also includes meeting with the President of the French National Assembly, Mrs. Bon-Pivet, and series of other meetings with the thought leaders and prominent business people. There is going to be another ceremonial reception at the Élysée Palace on the 14th, later in the evening, which will then be followed by delegation level discussions led by Prime Minister Modi and President Macron. The two leaders will also interact with the CEOs from both countries under the rubric of India-France CEO Forum. The program in France would conclude with a state banquet to be hosted in honor of Prime Minister in the evening of 14th of July at the iconic Louvre Museum. As you are all aware, India and France have a long-standing strategic partnership which actually captures a series of strategic convergences that both countries have on a range of issues. And this year marks 25th anniversary of our strategic partnership. There are several pillars of our strategic partnership, and each of these pillars would come up for stock taking and the pathway ahead in terms of future cooperation in these areas: security cooperation, space cooperation, engagement in the civil nuclear domain, technology partnership, partnership in the field of counterterrorism, cyber security, climate change, renewable energy, issues relating to International Solar Alliance, reorientation of our security partnership in line with Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat objectives, supply chain integration between the industry and business segments of the two countries, etc., would all form part of discussions under the bilateral talks that the two leaders would hold. Economic ties, one of the key centerpieces of India-France strategic partnership, has been on robust upswing, spans across not just the conventional areas of trade, industry and investment cooperation, but is also increasingly focused on the new and emerging domains, including the startup industries. India has had a very robust participation, for example, in Viva Tech, which is one of the signature forums of participation by technology, innovation and startup companies in France. Space economy is again a very upcoming area besides the traditional area of cooperation in the space. Besides, of course, the substance of discussions, we all know that both President Macron and Prime Minister Modi share a very warm and personal, strong equation, and their common vision has actually given a very strong guidance to the further deepening and expansion of our partnership. The visit of Prime Minister to France would be both rich in substance and also in form, and we would think or believe that it would set new benchmarks for our strategic partnership in years ahead. After concluding his visit to France, Prime Minister would depart for UAE and reach there on 15th of July, where he will meet His Highness Sheikh Mohamed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of the UAE and ruler of Abu Dhabi, to be followed by ceremonial welcome, bilateral talks and other events organized in honor of Prime Minister's visit to UAE. We have all seen in front of our eyes in last few years a significant transformation that has taken place in India-UAE relations over the last few years, and a central driver of this has been the vision of the two leaders, the President of the UAE and the Prime Minister of India. Both of them, of course, also enjoy excellent personal rapport, which is reflected in their very frequent engagements. They last met in June in Abu Dhabi, when PM visited UAE while on his return from the G7 summit in Munich. They have since, of course, also met in many virtual platforms, including the last one in July last year during the I2U2 summit. As you would all be aware that in February 22, during the virtual summit, the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement between India and UAE was signed. A joint vision statement was also issued at that time. We have seen a significant jump, qualitative enhancement in the substance of our engagement across the whole range of areas since the signing of the CEPA, and the partnership has continued to grow from strength to strength. This is particularly reflected in the strong economic exchanges, both on the trade side but also on the investment side, people-to-people ties, and also convergence on a range of regional and international issues. Bilateral trade is currently at a very strong $85 billion between India and UAE, making UAE India's third largest trading partner last year, and India's second largest export destination is UAE. Also, very substantial large sums of FDI flows from UAE have taken place to India, making UAE the fourth largest overall investor in India. UAE and India are also very strong partners in the field of energy security, and besides those, several new areas of partnership and engagement have also registered strong progress, including in the field of renewables, health, food security, S&T, education, fintech, and defense and security. As we all know that Indian diaspora is present in very strong and robust numbers in UAE, about 3.5 million, and the historical people-to-people ties between India and UAE remain a key pillar of our strategic partner. UAE is also a special invitee during India's G20 presidency summit to be held in September this year. India and UAE are also cooperating very closely on COP28, which will be held in UAE towards the end of this year. Prime Minister's visit to UAE provides a useful opportunity for us to review this important partnership and inject further momentum across the whole range of areas that we cooperate in. I would stop here. If there are questions, we'll take that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Please introduce yourself and the organization that you represent before asking your questions. I'll start with you. I saw your hand first.
सर मधुरेंद्र, मैं न्यूज़ नेशन से। आपने स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप की बात कही इंडिया और फ्रांस के बीच। ये माना जा रहा है कि प्रधानमंत्री मोदी के इस दौरे के दौरान भारत और फ्रांस के बीच कुछ नए डिफेंस डील की घोषणा होगी। अगर उस पर आप कुछ बताएं कि क्या सबमरीन और राफेल जैसी जो बातें
पहले से
बिल्कुल, क्योंकि तमाम चीजें प्रोसीजर्स में होंगी और
आप पूछ सकते हैं,
घोषणा का इंतजार है।
हमेशा
उस बारे में जो भी प्रकाश आप डालना चाहें आप डालें।
जरूर। आपकी तरफ
सर, बास्टिल डे में पहले
आप
पार्टी। सर, मैं मनीष राव टीवी 9 से, और मेरा सवाल है कि प्रधानमंत्री इस बार फिर बास्टिल डे के फंक्शन में चीफ गेस्ट रहेंगे, तो इंडिया का पहले जो पार्टिसिपेशन रहा था और इस बार के पार्टिसिपेशन में किस लेवल का स्केल में अंतर है?
पिछली बार मतलब प्रधानमंत्री
दूसरा इवेंट दूसरी बार।
सीधा प्रसारण आप देख रहे थे विदेश मंत्रालय के प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस का, और जिसमें विदेश मंत्री विनय मोहन क्वात्रा ने खासतौर पर जो प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी की फ्रांस यात्रा हो रही है उसके बारे में और यूएई की यात्रा के बारे में जानकारी दी, फ्रांस में प्रधानमंत्री के कार्यक्रमों के बारे में जानकारी दी, जो वहाँ के द्विपक्षीय आधिकारिक कार्यक्रम है, उसके अलावा वहाँ भारतीय समुदाय के साथ प्रधानमंत्री का संबोधन भी होने वाला है।